Hello, I'm here today with Duncan Penny, CEO of XP Power. Duncan, welcome.
Hi.
Can you start off by telling us a bit about XP Power and who your customer base is and the sectors that you're selling into?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what we make are electronic power supplies, and they take the electricity from the wall socket and convert it into the right form of electricity for electronic equipment to work. So every piece of electronic equipment needs one of these devices. And we sell into the industrial, medical and the technology sectors. We don't do any consumer electronics. Industrial would include things like test and measurement, 3D printing, automation and control. Healthcare would include any device that uses electricity, from a CT scanner or a drug delivery system, a patient monitor. And then technology would include things like semiconductor manufacturing equipment, high-end broadcast equipment, cinema projectors and things like that. And these are all high reliability, high quality areas where customers are very concerned about the reliability of the product.
Now, you've successfully moved the group up the value chain into design and manufacture. Do you think that strategy has now run its course, or is there still more to go?
No, I think there's definitely much more to go. And we've spent many years getting corporate approvals at some of these bigger blue chip customers who would only speak to a designer and a manufacturer. And it takes so much time to do that. You have to have a factory audit, you have to have the right product portfolio for them, you even have to have the right environmental credentials, even before you can start talking to the design engineers and start getting your product designed into those customers. When we look at, particularly in the healthcare arena, the big three healthcare people, we all deal with those now, but we're doing such a small percentage of their overall business. But at last we're in a position where we can actually win and design those slots in. And we've seen very, very good growth in those customers, and there is much, much more to come. And the same is true in some of the test and measurement customers, and the high-end other areas such as the semiconductor manufacturing equipment. It's the same there.
Now, how important is control over that manufacturing process to your strategy and growth?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because when we started off, we thought that we would just design the product and we would outsource the manufacturing of it. And a lot of people in our industry were actually moving in the opposite direction from us. They were manufacturers who got into sales and marketing, and we came from sales and marketing, got into design and then manufacture. And what we found is that some of the more interesting customers, they would only deal with companies who actually manufactured the product themselves. And the reason for that is because if you imagine, particularly in the medical arena, the quality and safety is so important that they were worried that if you didn't do the manufacturing yourself, that you wouldn't absolutely have control of it, and something might change, a process or a component, and we wouldn't be aware of it and they wouldn't be aware of it, and that would cause an issue. So it's been absolutely fundamental to our growth, and it's been probably the most key factor in actually winning these big company approvals that I mentioned before.
Now, the group's cash performance was strong last year and debt was significantly reduced. How do you imagine deploying that extra free cash into the business?
Yeah, I mean, we're very lucky with our business model, because with such high gross margins, and it's not very capital intensive, even though we're manufacturing, we do produce a lot of cash. We've always had a very progressive dividend policy. The dividend's gone up every year since we floated, and we pay dividends quarterly, which is rather unusual as well. But what we're looking at now is we expect to be net cash positive by the end of this year. And we'll start to look at that cash in terms of doing small bolt-on acquisitions where we can actually improve the earnings, really, would be our first plan with that cash.
Well, all the very best with that.
Right, thank you.
Thank you for joining us today, Duncan. And if you'd like any more information, please do visit the Edison website.